so it's going to be a little bit different than what he's talking about. The changing climate at St. Olaf, what we're doing and why. And some of you will have heard me do a much longer version of this in October, so this is kind of the Reader's Digest condensed version of a talk that I gave earlier. Environmentally speaking, a college campus is a place for converting natural energy to human thoughtfulness. It's a place where people employ natural resources to refine and transmit the intellectual and artistic resources we call culture. Like all other colleges and universities, St. Olaf College is an organic machine, where nature's energy is shaped by nature's human energy and vice versa. We think of a campus as a place, a location, and a space, and it is. But more importantly, it's a relationship, where human designs intersect with nature's designs in food and water, heat and electricity, cars and computers, lawns and gardens, and natural lands. A campus is one way of making love to nature or making war on it. It's a way of caring for the creation. The campus is, like it or not, an ecological design. This kind of thinking characterizes St. Olaf's culture from the top down and vice versa. The college has long been a good steward of its resources, but the current strategic plan adopted in 2003 made explicit its commitment to economic and ecological sustainability. In that year, too, President Chris Humphrey appointed a task force under the leadership of Pete Sandberg to assess the college's sustainability and to offer proposals for change. And we did that, and you've seen some of the stuff about that around here. The first time I met the new president, his first question for me was, what's the next big thing? Which is a great question to get from the new president. So let me tell you a little bit about what we are doing, and then David can talk about the way that he thinks about that. And then Mary Sue's going to talk more particularly about the car policy, which I think is one of the stickiest things that we're going to deal with here at the college. St. Olaf College is not sustainable. Sometimes my students say, you know, I go to a sustainable college. We're not sustainable. But virtually all of its operations are beginning to point in that direction. The college has always been efficient in its energy use. A 2004-2005 study showed that St. Olaf spent $1.21 per gross square foot of buildings versus $1.67 for other private institutions and $1.82 at public institutions. This is for energy costs. As you know, the college also produces clean energy with a 1.65 megawatt wind turbine. It generates about a third of the electricity we use, reduces carbon emissions by 20%, and saves us about $250,000 a year. At St. Olaf, we construct our buildings to last, which is an ecological design. We still use our original building, Old Main. Starting with this building, the college has embraced ecological design. In 2003, we adopted the St. Olaf Sustainable Design Guidelines, which you can find on the web if you want. As you may have noticed lately, we've been putting them into practice in a new science complex, which should achieve a LEED Gold rating from the U.S. Green Building Council, and might possibly achieve LEED Platinum, which would make it one of less than 10 platinum lab buildings in the world. It would take me longer than I have for this whole talk tonight to tell you all of the innovations in the building, but let me suggest a few. In the first place, the guidelines require careful siting and recycling of old buildings. When we cut down the trees on the site, we replaced many of them immediately, or we had them milled for lumber that we can use in some of the building's furnishings. When we tore down Flotten Hall and the Old Main Annex and the Art Barn, we were able to recycle 91% of the buildings, not counting some things like valves and steam traps and woodwork that we took out for other uses. When we tore up the hillside for the building, we also contoured it so that 100% of the water runoff from that side of campus will be captured in a series of ponds on our land so that the water can help to recharge the Jordan Aquifer instead of going into the Northfield storm sewers. In choosing construction materials, we have opted for local materials as much as possible to reduce the embedded energy that comes with moving stuff all over the country, for materials that don't emit volatile organic compounds, and for materials that are relatively easy to maintain. Floors in the hallways, for example, will be linoleum, covering that's 100% natural and recyclable with no off-gassing. Some of the most impressive aspects of the building will be invisible. Because of our choices of insulation, windows, ventilation, and circulation efficiency, the building should be 60% better than the Department of Energy's code standard. During the winter, exhaust air will run through reclaim coils that will help to heat incoming air. Because of our use of low-flow faucets and other innovations, we expect water consumption to be 30% less than for a standard building of comparable size. As with Buntrock, there will be lots of daylight instead of lots of electric lights, and we'll be able to monitor 3 different kinds of electrical use in the building. We expect that there will be some great teaching in the building, and I can see some science professors right here, but we also expect that the building itself will be a great teacher. As David Orr says, architecture is pedagogy. Outside the building, the college cares for its land. We've reduced the area of grass we mow by 1/3. We've reduced pesticide use and switched from chemical fertilizers to a natural product made of turkey shit. We require no-till methods on our farmlands, and we do restorations on our natural lands, including 80 acres of restored woodland, 145 acres of restored prairie, and 14 restored wetlands. At St. Olaf, we eat food that's good for people and the environment. Last year, the Princeton Review named the college cafeteria as one of the 10 best in the country. And that has nothing to do with our environmental record. It just has to do with good taste. But nationally, Bon Appetit is committed to serving fresh food in menus with lots of fruits, vegetables, legumes, and grains, buying seafood that preserves fish stocks, offering free fair trade, shade-grown organic coffees. The company leverages purchasing power to prefer meat, dairy, and seafood that has been produced with reduced amounts of antibiotics. They only purchase wild, line-caught salmon, and fortunately for us, there's a St. Olaf parent who is a salmon fisherman in Alaska who catches it for us. And they are switching to cage-free eggs. Bon Appetit's environmental ethic is also present locally at St. Olaf, where we support regional food producers and artisans. We buy local apples and corn in season and procure pasta from the North Dakota Farmers Cooperative. We purchase pork from a local farmers cooperative, and we get some grass-fed beef locally too. We get our milk without hormones and antibiotics from the local Hastings Dairy. We buy all of the produce from the student-run Stroh Organic Garden, 20,000 pounds of it last year. All in all, our goal is to teach students that a fork and knife and spoon are agricultural implements, and that how we eat determines how the world is used. We also try to minimize food waste and maximize its benefits. Our students waste an average of 1.7 ounces of food per plate per meal, a tiny amount, but it adds up. So in September 2006, we installed a right-in vessel composter that converts all of our food waste, about 250,000 pounds a year, to food for our gardens and agricultural land. St. Olaf students also enjoy a robust and extensive environmental studies major with challenging tracks in the natural sciences, arts and humanities, and social sciences. Courses are offered by more than 20 faculty in 10 different departments, and the ES 399 capstone course involves hands-on interdisciplinary research on a wide variety of topics. In just a short time, the program has moved from offering a concentration to a major, and in 2003, environmental studies became the second interdisciplinary program at the college to gain departmental status. And many of the faculty pursue primary research interests in the arts and sciences of sustainability. The sciences are a St. Olaf specialty, and the chemistry department has taken the lead in green chemistry. Led by Professor Gary Spessard and supported by a $500,000 grant from the Keck Foundation, the department introduced green chemistry experiments in the organic chemistry labs in 2003-04, and in the rest of the departmental curriculum since then. These green water-based reactions virtually eliminate hazardous waste byproducts and have allowed us to design the science complex with about half of the fume hoods that would be expected in a traditional science curriculum. This change enables tremendous savings in first cost, life cycle costs, and the cost of operations for the new science building. Independent majors in the Center for Integrated Studies also make possible innovative hands-on integrations of the theory and practice of sustainability. Almost all of the students who have taught campus ecology with me, for example, have been CIS majors. In doing good work together, William Kittredge writes that we live in stories, what we are as stories. We do things because of what is called character, and our character is formed by the stories we learn to live in. Late in the night, we listen to our own breathing in the dark and rework our stories. We do it again the next morning and all day long before the looking glass of ourselves, reinventing reasons for our lives. Other than such storytelling, there is no reason to things. In the past 5 years, the St. Olaf community has been reworking our story to nest within the larger story of sustainability. And we've shared this story in many different ways. We shared it at the orientation of our incoming students, in news stories, in an extensive essay on what sustains us in St. Olaf magazine, and in the activities of our sustainability year. The Associated Press published a good article on the friendly competition between Carleton and St. Olaf, which appeared in at least 70 different publications. And Sojourners published an essay in May 2006 called Food for Thought, looking at the philosophy and practices of our food service from farm to fork and back again. In July 2006, Dave Burtness wrote an essay on the Stowgrove Farm for www.newfarm.org, and I'm working on a book called The Nature of College, which we'll talk about all